Okay, so real life video here. I actually just woke up not that long ago. Um, but we were actually at a hotel, for a craft show, so don't let that creep you out or anything. So many updates to do, so many things to say. So also I'm sorry if the lighting sucks a little. There's not a heck of a lot going on here. Um, so there's so much going on. And again, doing these two things together, doing the weight loss surgery and doing the cancer removal it's a lot. There's a lot going on. I feel like I'm constantly seeing a doctor of some kind, like constantly. So yesterday, because we're over in the Cleveland Akron area, again, it's like 3 hours, 2.5 hours from where we live. I love being able to do my Cleveland Clinic testing at a Cleveland Clinic affiliated place. Like, I log into my app, I can schedule things from my MyChart and do them at that facility. Whatever facility I pick, there's a whole host of them. I can pick whichever one I want. And then I just go and I check in and I do the test and I'm done. It's very easy. I don't have to have any paper because I'm a, like, when it comes to keeping papers around, and it's just such a pain in the ass, and it's not something that I'm great at. So, and inevitably it gets lost in the shuffle of life. So, I like being able to just kind of go in and say, here I am. I scheduled this thing. And they're like, okay, great. Here you go. And that's just it. It's done. It's easy. So I had a nicotine test yesterday. And I don't know if anyone knows, and I don't really know if I've actually talked about this or not, but of course, prior to surgery, they want you to be nicotine-free for at least 4 months, is what Dr. Stevens said yesterday. At least 4 months, they want you to be nicotine-free. So I smoked for a very long time. I smoked for about 12 years, regular cigarettes, and up to almost 2 packs a day. Honestly, it was exhausting. And if I could have never done anything in my life, it would have been smoking. It was terrible. The long-term effects are so much worse than the short-term 12 years of, feeling like a nicotine high or whatever. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So that's my caveat. If you smoke, quit. And I know it's so freaking hard. It's so hard. I've heard people say it's the hardest thing they've ever had to do, and I believe that in my soul. So I'm still in that process of quitting altogether, but I've made loads of progress. I think in the spring, I switched to vapes, and they're the disposable kind. So my particular, and of course I don't endorse brands, but my particular one that I use is Elf Bar. So this is the EB Create, whatever, in the bluegrass ice. It's my favorite. But I switched to nicotine vapes for a while, and then in June I started going to the 0% nicotine or nicotine free, and that's what this is now. So I'm solely on nicotine free. So I do not have the results of the nicotine test, but I anticipate them to be negative, because I've been off of nicotine for such a long time. So that's one of the things that they require, and they require one early, after you've been nicotine free for about a month, and then they require one, I think she says about 4 months later. So it's definitely, if you're looking at doing weight loss surgery, understand that it will be a time consuming process. Understand it's not going to be a tomorrow thing. But if you do smoke and you want weight loss surgery, it's something you're going to have to do. And you're going to have to keep doing it. Like, you can't be like, oh, I'm going to do it long enough to pass this test, and then I'm going to be, right back to smoking, because they check again. So you can't really fool the system. You have to be committed. And it really is for your better health. It's for better wound healing, better oxygenation, all of those things. And you have to be able to exercise. And that's one of the things that I'm struggling with at this point. What kind of exercise is worth it for me? Because when I do exercise, and when I do have when my heart does work, my oxygen saturation drops to the high 80s. So abnormal, but it happens all the time. Become kind of used to it, which is creepy. But it's one of those things that you have to do. So don't get to that point where you're like, ugh, I feel like I can't even exercise. One of the things that Dr. Stevens recommended was what she called longitudinal exercises. Things like Pilates, yoga, things of that nature, even just stretching, something to get your body moving without the super high cardio, because when everyone thinks about exercising, at least when I think about exercising, I think about running or doing something crazy like jumping jacks, and those are just terrible, or burpees. Like, who even does those? They're awful. But anyway, that's what people think about, or what I think about anyways when I think about exercise. I think about, all the sweat and the high heart rate and this and that and the other thing, and I would pass out. I would just fall over. It would just be terrible. So the question for me right now is, how can I best move and get movement in without without feeling like I'm gonna pass out. So also, Peep, my hand thrown mug. It holds so much coffee. So I'm really excited about that. But it is handmade, hand thrown. I cut it at the craft show, so it's awesome. Yay! I don't even remember where it's from. It's like Battelle pottery. I don't know. Anyways, I'll update later once I figure it out. So, and coffee is another good point. If you're a coffee drinker and a coffee lover, which I totally am, I love coffee. It's my gojo mojo. Like, it's how I get my day started. And ended most of the time. Huge coffee drinker. But one of the things that they want you to do with surgery is they want you to make sure that your decaf, they're very adamant about it. Decaf is the best way to go. And of course, you don't want to spend all of your liquids on coffee all day. I mean, it's just not good. But they want, and one of the things that I found out over the years, my husband and I were just talking about this yesterday. We went to brunch and I actually ordered decaf coffee, and he about had a stroke, because it's not something I've ever done in my life. I drink half calf at home most all of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. My mom even bought me some Hills Brothers half calf. So thanks, Mom. You're the best. And Green Mountain makes a half calf. It's really good. You can buy it on Amazon for a ginormous box of it, like several of the big boxes in one box. Like, it's huge. But finding something half calf and then switching to caffeine free or decaf is very worth it if you intend to stay with having a cup of coffee or two in the morning. Or a cup at night, or whatever you do. It's worth it, because otherwise you can't have it at all. So it's kind of a thing. And they're very particular about it. So just be aware. I mean, wean yourself down, figure that out. Of course, they don't want the stimulation, to your nervous system, and you need to be able to heal. And caffeine as a stimulant doesn't really do that. And for me, honestly, I don't get anything out of it anyway. It's been too long. I don't get the caffeine boost. So for me, it's all about flavors, and the flavor of coffee, the type of coffee, the roast, the add-ins, because of course my coffee is not just plain old coffee. I have to have the cream, the Splenda, all that stuff. And there are a lot of sugar-free options out there if you're looking. I know International Delight has a fantastic sugar-free cinnamon roll. They also offer, that might be Coffee Mate. And I know for a fact International Delight offers my fave. And again, I don't endorse products. It's just something that I personally enjoy. International Delight makes a sugar-free caramel macchiato. So if you're into the caramel macchiato, like I love caramel, then pick you up some sugar-free from International Delight, the caramel macchiato creamer. It's in the refrigerator section. You'll find it most anywhere. It's beautiful. It's glorious, and it's sugar-free, so you don't have to feel as guilty about it. It does still have calories, though. I mean, that's a thing. And I use Splenda, or whatever. You can use sugar substitute, agave nectar, whatever type of thing that you're into. There's so many options to provide so much flavor without the excess sugar, and you can still kind of get what you want. Oh man. Those are some of the changes that are coming around, and some of the things that I've been working on. I did meet with Dr. Stevens. She's fantastic. Oh my gosh. So she's the psychology doctor. She's a psychology doctor with Cleveland Clinic. She's fantastic. I just love her. She is just a very kind soul. And I wish, I wish that I could connect with her, like, off of Cleveland Clinic and, like, have her be my therapist. That'd be amazing. One of the things that we've met twice now. The first meeting was to go over a bunch of questions, and of course I talk a lot. So I didn't finish them all in the first hour session. So we had another session, which was great. One of the recommendations that she had, oh my goodness, so sorry. One of the recommendations that she had was that I see a counselor outside of course, the clinic, and work on some personal growth items, which I don't know if anybody knows me that personally, or if I've really shared that. Especially haven't shared that on video. But one of the things that I am very accepting of is counseling and therapy. I think, and I've always thought that therapy is a way for you to get a more in-depth picture of yourself. You really kind of can really figure out who you are, and the things that are appropriate for you, both in desires and feelings and relationships. And all of those things are intermingled and they're mixed together. So it's super important to know, to be in a safe headspace with yourself and your relationships and the way that you do things and the way that you feel about things. It's super, super important. I'm a very, very, very big fan of therapy. In fact, I've done it several years. I did it even as a child, but I had some really negative coping mechanisms at that point. And I didn't take therapy seriously from a standpoint that I lied a lot back then, just to get out of doing it. So I did, but eventually I threw those, in my adult world in my 20s, I threw those coping mechanisms to the side, and have kind of have worked on different coping mechanisms, but I still need work on those, and some other things, that kind of are from my past, such as, body dysmorphic disorder, all of those things. I'm very much a people pleaser, and it gets me in trouble. I have a really big problem setting boundaries. And I will take on a lot just to say yes to it because I feel like I have to. So those are some things that I'm going to work on. And I see that through my whole entire life with my relationships, both privately, friendships, work-related things. It's just me through and through. People pleasing, yes, because it's the nice thing to do, or I feel like I need to, or I can't say no, somebody really needs me. Those types of things and those types of behaviors, and I need to learn how to set better boundaries. So that's kind of a big thing that we're going to work on. I did go down the therapy journey. I did attempt to contact someone through a company that's called Grow Therapy, and this particular provider, I'm not going to share her name, but this particular provider I set my appointment. It was the day before Thanksgiving. I set my appointment time for 6:00. She went in and changed it. I wish it notified me, whatever, at 5, so an hour before the session started. And I'm like, okay, it was online only. I'm like, it's fine. It's the day before Thanksgiving. I like to give a little bit of grace. Okay, whatever. Stuff comes up. I get it. So she recommended the change again for that Monday. And I was busy that Monday doing an OSU thing for the cancer situation. So I changed it to Tuesday, same time, 6:00. And I was online for about a half an hour past my appointment time, and she never showed. So I would not recommend using Grow Therapy. I had a terrible experience there. And when you talk about somebody that is reaching out for therapy, that is ready to take that journey seriously, and then you just ghost them, that's terrible. Boo on you, Grow Therapy. I was actually really upset about it. I was kind of pissed because it doesn't make any sense to me. You're a provider. Not only are you a medical provider, you're a provider of cognitive behavioral, therapy, psychological situations, and you just totally effed with someone. Like, that's stupid. So boo on you, Grow Therapy, and that specific provider. So I've reached out to a couple of other providers on Psychology Today, psychologytoday.com. You can look by your zip code. One thing COVID did do is it provided a lot of online therapy and online resources, which I think is really great for someone specifically that has a very busy schedule. That's kind of where I'm at. I have a lot of different things going on right now. it also, for those people that maybe can't leave the house or are disabled, it allows them to be heard, to be felt, to get progress in their situations, both medically, psychologically, all those things, without having to leave the house specifically. People that maybe have COVID or they have some sort of illness where it's not wise for them to leave the house, they don't have to. It's fantastic. It's just a really great thing that, COVID did bring about, aside of all of the bad things. So I'm looking for somebody online that can provide online therapy sessions, that does insurance. I like to put everything through my insurance, just so I know that I'm covered there. But even if I'm not, I think session fees are anywhere from like $70 to $150 a session. And it's not like you do it every day, but it would probably be, I don't know, every week or two. I'm not really sure. It would depend on the therapist's ideas and where we get started versus where we want to go, and all those things. So I'll update that a little bit. I probably won't share my deepest, darkest secrets about that. But once I find a provider, we'll go from there. So another thing I wanted to share with everybody. I did do another nutrition visit with Dr. Anthony. He is amazing. He's fantastic. One of the things that just absolutely blew my mind, I just can't. I still, my mind is still like, what? Because it's so not what we're conditioned to do as people. So we were talking about the nutrition piece and about post-surgery, what that looks like. And I've done a really good job of taking some of his things really, really, really to heart. I have to focus on them, and sometimes it's really hard. But one of the things that I love is chewing your food. And I'm a numbers person. Like, I'm not a numbers person as in math, but I have a little bit of like OCD adjacent things. So I count as I chew. It's kind of weird, but it works. So I chew everything for like 20 to 30 chews until I swallow it. It really, one time, just the other day, we were at home eating, my husband and I, and he inhaled his food, and in whatever, I don't know, I still had food at 45 minutes. And I don't know, I'm not that person. So, it's definitely, it works. It works. It's one of my favorite, like, cheat tricks to cheat your mind into like, okay, you have to do this. You have to take longer to eat because you'll be fuller. And it works. It so works. But one of the things that he said post-op, and this again blew my mind, post-op is that, a half an hour before your meal, during your meal, and after your meal, you're not to drink your water or any drink with dinner. And I'm like, what? Because the first thing you do when you go to a restaurant, first thing you do when you get home, you have a drink of something. You have water, you have pop, you have tea, you have whatever. And I'm just like, that's so weird to me, but it makes sense. So when you have your surgery, you have your stomach opening, which is a little bigger, and then you have the smaller part, which is where you go into your intestines or whatever situation you have going on there. If you do the Roux-en-Y, then it bypasses a big chunk. But if you don't do the Roux-en-Y, you do the sleeve, you still have that intestine. So when that food piles in there, it stays there. You absorb the nutrients from it, and you've already chewed it a bunch, so it's already well on its way. So it stays in there, you absorb it, and then it starts to filter through slowly. Whereas if you drink a bunch of water, you're either full before you eat on water, so you're not going to get any nutrients, or you drink water during or right after dinner, and it all filters through, and you end up with diarrhea and abdominal pain and bloating. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He said, think of it like a funnel. And I'm like, God, it makes so much sense. What is happening? So I'm working on it a little. It's very hard for me just because I'm so conditioned. And I think most of us are conditioned to have something to drink with dinner. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be something to think about conscientiously as I move forward here. So it just blew my mind. But Dr. Anthony is fantastic. And I think he gets it. He gets where I am at. He has compassion. He gets where I want to be. So it's really fantastic. And, everybody has a different fight nutritionally. Andrew and I have done a really great job of switching to that Mediterranean diet, and not giving into cravings as often, really being lower carb, but not being no carb, not being keto. Because that's not a recommended situation for my fertility, or my hormones at this point. But again, keto does work, and I'm not saying no keto ever, but it's just something that my physicians didn't recommend. So keep in mind, definitely pay attention to your physicians and your nutritionists about what's important for you and what's right for you. I think the last thing I want to close with, today is Saturday. Let me check the date here because I'm terrible. December the 9th. So it's December the 9th. I have, switching over to the OSU side of things, Ohio State University, James Center. I have surgery coming up on Tuesday, the 12th, to remove the squamous cell carcinoma from my ear. So I am terrified, to say the very least. I'm terrified. I'm stressed. I have a lot of work stuff to do between now and then. So Monday is going to be a start early and late day. So my work people, I'm so sorry you're stuck with me for literally probably 16 hours. But it's going to be a busy day. I have a lot going on, a lot that I want to accomplish before I'm off for a month. And I want to put my folks at work that are taking over for me while I'm off. And thank you, ladies. You are amazing. And thanks, Lieutenant and Chief and the big man, Sheriff, for taking care of me while I'm gone. And making sure that things get done. It eases my mind a bit. So I appreciate that. So I have a lot I want to do on Monday to get everybody prepped for that and to prep myself for that. So everybody that's helping me out, big thank you. And there's a lot of stress around this surgery and around this procedure. And I had a mini meltdown a few days ago because it never occurred to me. I think I glossed over it when Dr. Kong had gone over it. I think I just totally, he just said it, and I think I just glossed over it in my brain. But we opted to do the lymph node biopsy, and I just had this thought of, oh God, they're gonna have to cut my face. And, I'm not a super vain person, obviously. I mean, God, look at my acne. CPAP acne right here. But they're going to have to cut my face. And I'm like, how does that work? Like, are they going to cut it here? Are they going to cut it here? And I don't know yet. And we're not going to know that until we go through nuclear medicine to do the tracker to figure out where that drains to, whether it drains to the lymph nodes here or the lymph nodes back here. It's just really going to depend. So I do go to nuclear medicine the morning, like early morning. I have to be there at 7:15. I go to nuclear medicine to get that test done. And then we'll know more. I'll update Monday probably on my video feed, but I probably won't update again for several days after that, medicine, pain, all those things. But I will probably update at that point. I'm already prepping to have things at the house like Gatorade. I'm a big, when I don't feel good, I love Gatorade. They make 0 sugar varieties, which are, honestly, I can't tell much of a difference, to be quite frank. They're good. They're delicious. Also, if you're looking for protein, they do offer a protein type of powder and or bottles. You can get those on Amazon. Dr. Stevens was talking about those when I met with her. But I mean, when you go to Amazon, you have to order a ginormous amount of them. So you may want to try them somewhere else first before you commit to a whole case of something. But that's up to you. To each their own. So I think that's it for now. But in talking to Dr. Anthony, from the nutrition side, he said that if I follow the rules basically, and he's confident in it, that I could be ready to go by the first of the year from him. I could get checked off by him by the first of the year. Now, of course, I don't anticipate having this surgery until the spring anyway, at the earliest. So this is not an overnight process. He did say they like to see some weight loss before the surgery, and I think that that's a commitment thing. They want to see that you are capable of sticking to it and doing it, which is important. You have to have the determination to do it, because even though you're going to get a lot of weight loss off initially, you do hit a plateau. Everyone hits a plateau Everyone does. It doesn't matter if you're doing it with a surgical way or not. You hit a plateau, period. You have to be able to work through that and get through that plateau and rely on, your nutrition and your exercise plans to be able to do those things. That's so, so, so important. So keep that in mind. Even the little steps of limiting how many times you're going out to eat or something you think is so like it doesn't even make a difference. It makes a difference. It makes a whole difference. Because if you can get on that track of, okay, I'm not going to go out to eat. I'm not going to have this pop with dinner. Anything, even if it's just the littlest thing, if you repeat it every day, it becomes a habit. And it's so, so, so worth it. So keep it up. Wherever you're at in your stage, wherever you're at in your nutrition and your exercise, keep going. Even the littlest thing can prove to be so huge later. So do it. You can do it. I know you can. So good luck, everybody. And like I said, I might update on Monday for my surgery, but then we're going to be done with updates for a few days. So best of luck, and we'll see you soon.